Well, I grew up in South Africa, was kicked out of South Africa about 20 years ago, put in prison because of the thing that Jeff spoke about. Now, there's a debate, are crowds stupid or are they intelligent? Now, where's the debate? Because there were some people saying crowds are intelligent and some are stupid. So what do you think? Where's the vote now? After some people saying it's wisdom or they're stupid. Is the crowd intelligent or stupid? Both. Okay, well, the reality is that people are intelligent, but they can operate in stupid systems or they can operate in an intelligent system. Apartheid was a stupid system where I saw a lot of good people doing stupid things. And when we get to business, it's the same thing. You know, came to Belgium then to study psychology, landed up at Unilever, and then what do you see? Again, a lot of great people doing stupid things. And that's basically what we do at Innate. We try and enable more meaningful growth by humanizing business, because we think the best intelligence comes out of people when we humanize that. So a couple of years ago, I landed up working up with a fantastic company in Belgium called Materialise. Who knows Materialise here? One, two. No. They are a company of all highly intellectual engineers, like all Belgians, by the way. They're all highly intellectual.
Thanks, Christophe, thanks.
I was thrown in there, and a company based in Leuven, and luckily there was Stijn, who could understand the idea that you can also grow business with meaning and not only mechanics. So Stijn, I leave it up to you.
So indeed, I'm Stijn, and I'm a marketing manager at Materialise. I'm actually an industrial designer that ended up in marketing. Now, indeed, a few years ago, in 2011 to be more precise, I met Christophe at Materialise as a business humanizer. Yeah. And indeed, they understand the potential of bringing human sense to business. And instead of what's happening often, bringing business sense to humans. So we started to work together. And especially in Materialise, where you have this huge bunch of engineers and technologists, we've been working on 3D printing since 25 years. So it is definitely a world where there's a lot of business intelligence and technology intelligence. Especially there, this came as a relief to me, let's say. So at Materialise, we're now active for 25 years in 3D printing, and while there has been this hype in 3D printing and many people have been watching it, we've been really doing it. So we've been developing relevant applications for 3D printing in 3 domains. It's industrial production, it's medical field, and it's 3D printing software. And today, well, I'm the marketing manager of this industrial production field. So today we're talking about that part of Materialise, where we saw that for many customers we are producing prototypes, and we came to a situation where we saw that technologies were maturing, that they were really ready to go for serial production. But of course, that doesn't mean that the market knows that. And so we thought, okay, let's find customers for industrial manufacturing. We find the right companies. We go there and we convince them of the potential of 3D printing. So we went there and we tried to convince them.
Yeah, that's the next slide. You still have to read the title.
Okay, yeah. So, sorry. But you know, it takes more than a change in technology to. I'm now reading your lines.
No. So no, the reality is that obviously we started this process, and they thought they could tell the world about the fantastic projects. I've heard a lot of you speaking about your projects, and guess what? The other side of the table is just thinking, what the heck is this? And to get this ball moving, we learned the hard way. It would take a different approach to selling, and I think that was fundamental. We started looking at co-creation not to generate ideas. We started to look at co-creation as another way to do business development, another way to build commitment, another way to help or to get the customers to help us build this new segment in the market. And that's how we got to...
We went through a complete journey of finding out how we can co-create with our customers. And so now we're presenting you today 7 principles to grow your business by co-creating with a customer. And we start with principle number 1, which is put your customer on your side of the fence, make them contributors.
All right, so do you guys often go to customers and with new propositions that you're all excited about, and you get to that situation where they're just basically evaluating you, judging you? Raise your hand if this is the normal situation when you start pitching a project. We had worked on that one. This was certainly the case in the early phase of our project. I remember quite well, we went to another company in Belgium.
High-tech company.
Another high-tech company. Mm-hmm. Barco. Anybody knows Barco, yeah? Okay, well, there Stijn and the fellow engineers of Materialise were sitting on the one side of a table. On the other side, they were the engineers of Barco. And,
And I remember very well coming in that room, well prepared, because we had all the arguments there, because what reasons we thought Barco needed to use 3D printing in their production cycle.
So they came in there and started to sell, and started to tell. And the more they were talking about the possibilities of 3D printing, the more defensive these other engineers became. And at a certain time, this was like a spiral of just going down, negative energy. After about 20 minutes, we jumped in and we just posed another question. So, and we call this a mind switch. So I said to Stijn and his colleagues, just hold on, stay cool, yeah? And I turned around to the Barco people and said, do you actually believe in the printing or in the future of 3D printing in manufacturing? Who here actually believes that the future of manufacturing will be strongly affected through 3D printing? Well, yeah, we have a lot of believers. And if so, and this was really the switch, if so, who in your company would be perfect in applying this? Who else could use it? So we put him in the role of contributor, and they started pointing out where all the possibilities were, and they started pointing out who else could use it. And where the spiral was going down like this, all of a sudden, by putting him in the role of contributors, something amazing happened.
And it was an eye-opener for us. We saw that we had to stop selling, that we had to try to unlock goodwill, and to find people that really want to contribute, and that we needed to do nothing more than really inspire them.
So, principle 2.
Principle 2 is don't come with solutions, recognize the problem solver.
So obviously, this is a psychologist talking now. So
I leave it up to you to talk about it, Christophe.
Well. So what we learned very fast is that, also engineers are people. And they have an ego, and they have an identity. Who's an engineer here? Let's just, no engineers?
I'm a half engineer.
One, yeah. So, what is it that an engineer identifies with? What defines his existence? Anybody want to take a guess at that? Science. No. Actually, solving problems. If you give an engineer nothing to solve, he has no reason for being. So what Materialise was coming to the table with was all the solutions. And everything was possible. But obviously, they were ignoring the problem solver in the process.
And so we discovered that nothing is really more powerful than giving engineers the opportunity to solve problems, and not only solve their own problems, but also solve problems that the other engineers have.
Actually, they're much better at solving someone else's problem than solving their own.
But aren't we all better in solving other people's problems than solving our own?
No. All right.
So that brings me to principle number 3, and that's membership is more important than mastership.
Yeah, certainly in the context of going on a journey where you want to change the marketplace. And so co-creation requires a lot of voluntary collaboration with soul, not just reason. So it takes people communicating directly to one another with honesty. You know, it's not about unity, it's about unity, not uniformity. It's not about consensus, it's about communication. And it's not about decision rights. It's about letting everybody ace verse. So it makes a difference when people can have fun, when people can operate in a more liberating space, and where they can feel extraordinary.
And so how we did it at Materialise is, you know, the customers we work with are big corporations, and not all of these people are used to go into a very creative mode. So we take them out of their daily routine, and we bring them in our co-creation room. We developed a specific room for this that makes it much more playful, but it also gives them a stage where they can perform. And in fact, doing such a co-creation session feels like being on a stage from the very beginning to the very end.
So principle 4, Stijn.
Different co-creator needs means different co-creation processes. And I'll explain this a little bit with you, because in the beginning we started with a one-fits-all co-creation session, and we did this session with all kind of customers that we did co-creations with. So we started with explaining them a lot, because we thought they first need to learn all the principles about 3D printing, what the materials can do, and so before you can really go into the creative mode. And then the second part is, okay, now we're gonna be creative, we're gonna find new concepts for your company to use 3D printing. And then perhaps let's find some parts in those concepts that you can really print. Now we learned from the feedback from our customers that this was not the right approach. So we split it up in 3 pieces, and today we still offer those 3 things, but we offer them separately. So if people really want to learn, then we offer them a 3DP Academy. But there's no need to follow this 3DP Academy before you start creating, because too much knowledge is really not needed to get creative, since we're also in that room and we're the specialists in 3D printing.
And even more important, what you see a lot of, this community of entrepreneurs always feels very special. But, the best innovations or the best adoption of ideas happens when you can put it in the context of where people are already operating. The routines and the practices they're already doing.
And so there are a number of companies where that are interested in really finding innovative concepts and bringing out new products thanks to 3D printing. But there's also a number of companies where they just want to continue doing what they're doing, but they want to optimize. They just want to find those parts in their products that are suitable for 3D printing and that are more economic in 3D printing. So for those companies, we do the 3DP scan, which is a much more low entry thing to do.
All right. Principle 5, we're getting there. 2 more to go.
5th is co-creation doesn't stop when you have the great idea.
Yeah, so this is something we learned. Those first co-creation sessions, we got all excited, all these great ideas, all these opportunities that were coming out there. People were just seeing what we could all do. And, while we were preparing for the next co-creation session, what do you think actually happened to all those ideas?
Nothing, really. And you know why? Well, ideas, they allow for creativity, but implementing ideas, it requires them to fit completely in an existing industry standard. That means that co-creation doesn't stop with a great idea, but we need to keep co-creating with companies to find the right way to design those products, to find the right way to bring them in production. To give you an example, we recently started to do eyewear products with a big eyewear brand. Now you would think that if you're able to produce parts for aeronautic industry and automotive industry, that you can perfectly also comply with the requirements of eyewear industry. It's not the case, because there's no aeronautic parts and there's no automotive parts that are in skin contact for many hours a day and for many years in a row. So each industry has its own standards, and complying with those standards, it also asks a lot of co-creation together with these engineers to find out how to exactly fit 3D printing in conventional industry standards.
So the currency for co-creation in this case, in the business development case, is not ideas. It's really trust and the ability to travel together and go along a journey.
Yep. Principle number 6. Get the right people around the table. Screen for fit.
Yeah. So co-creation is an intense project or process. Certainly, if it's more than an idea generation process, when you do it to build commitment, to develop a new segment in the market, for us already 3 is a crowd, and getting the right people around the table was key.
Yeah. So we developed this tool, and it's a web-based tool, so you can now try it. If you take your iPhone, just go to www.3dprintbarometer.com, and we'll check your score through the Crowdsourcing Week app. So if you now take your phone...
already set the expectation. So if you are fit for 3D and your score is high enough, at the end, we've got a present for you.
Yeah, indeed.
So do it.
So do it. Do it indeed. So we want to get the right people around the table for co-creation. Because of that, we're going to screen them through this app. So what you're going to do is you imagine a product that you think like, okay, I want to know if this product is suitable for 3D printing, yes or no. Does it fit with the drivers for 3D printing? Is it a possibility that it's economically better to 3D print it than to make it in a conventional technology? And you go through these 5 parameters, and you fill them in that app, press calculate, and you'll get your score. It's the part size that we need to know. It's how complex your part is, the project value, so the total value of your product or your machine that you're thinking of. We want to know the series side, and we want to know the purpose of your product. Is it going to be functional? Is it purely visual product? Or is it a combination of both? And with that score, and we're seeing the average move here, we'll see if we have to talk yes or no.
Afterwards. All right. The last principle
is principle number 7. Co-creation is a waste of time when you're driving all the innovation.
So, on my first visit, in my clumsy self, I met Frit van Kraan, who's the founder and CEO of Materialise. And after a while talking to him, I say, your payoff line, we drive your innovation, seems to be a little bit not you, because you're such a humble guy, so solid, so assuring, so supportive. You could carry a whole industry. So I said, we should change that role that you are playing here. So obviously he thought, okay, it's an agency guy, just trying to make a pitch here. But shortly after that, he phoned me and he said, yeah, you're right. We discussed for a while, and Materialise started understanding that they are more than just an entrepreneur. They can become an industry standard. They can be a support system for a lot of new entrepreneurs. And
so this co-creation idea became part of our culture.
Yeah.
It became much more than just a sales tool or just a marketing tool. And it became something that everyone at Materialise lives. And everyone's also involved in this co-creation session. Because it doesn't make sense to organize co-creation with only salespeople or only engineers. I mean, also our R&D and our economical people are involved there.
So the payoff line became innovators you can count on. Quite simple. But you know, co-creation became a manifestation of that supporting more practical company.
And instead of a driver, we became a partner in innovation on which you can count.
So now the big question, if we set to the next.
Yeah, indeed, because we said at the beginning how to double your business. And then the question is, of course, did you double your business? Well, I can only share you the numbers. We're a public company, so I can only share you the numbers that have already been released to the stock market. But this is the revenue from the last 5 years. And 2011 is where we started the project, so we introduced
to be clear, it's the revenue of additive manufacturing services,
correct,
not the whole company.
Correct. Yeah. So it's part production manufacturing, indeed. And of course, 2015, I can only show you the numbers of the first half of 2015. So it's still a guess for you if we're gonna get there, yes or no. You'll have to look at the release in the first quarter of 2016 to find out if we've doubled, yes or no. But
no, joke.
But much more important than the numbers for me is like, what do you really realize with it? And I wanted to give you an example of a project that was just released by one of our partners in co-creation, and it's a product by Adidas. And Adidas was one of the first companies that joined us for such a co-creation session. I can tell you it was like a huge amount of energy in that co-creation room with all these guys in their runner shoes and so. And together with them, we came to a concept where imagine that you cannot just customize your shoes to like how they look, and you cannot just choose the color and the material they're made of. But imagine that your shoes are really tailored to your feet, so that you have a scan of your feet, that you can really tailor your shoes to it. But not only that, but that you can really support your feet the exact right way they should be supported, and so that everyone has a unique pair of shoes, not just a mirrored pair, but really two unique shoes, because no two feet are the same. That's what we did with Adidas, and they just a few weeks ago released the first prototype of that project.
So I think that's our story. You know, I hope there's a lot of you that are fit for 3D.
And if you fit for 3D, then please have a talk with us after this session, because we're giving away free co-creation sessions sponsored by Materialise and by Innate Motion. So if you fit for 3D, just have a talk with us, and we'll invite you at Materialise for co-creation.
Thank you.
Thanks.